Hello everyone, just a quick note to say that this is part 2 of our Blair Drummond Safari Park review. If you would like to hear part 1, just go back, it should be the last episode in the feed. So go back, listen to that first, and then listen to this second part. If you're rejoining us, thank you so much for coming back. We're so grateful to have you here, and I so hope you enjoy part 2 of our Blair Drummond Safari Park ReZOO. So, without further ado, let's get started. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody, and welcome to ReZOO, the Zoo Review podcast. I'm your host, Jack Baker, and today I am joined once again by my incredible co-host and fellow passionate zoo lover, the one and only Jodi McFarlane. Say hello, Jodi.
Hello, everyone.
Presented by Pangolin, the Conservation Podcast. This sister show promises to explore, appreciate and highlight the fantastic conservation work of zoos from around the world, while also offering a perspective on the visitor experience.
Today, we are going to be talking about Scotland's only safari park, Blair Drummond Safari Park. Found just outside of Stirling, this Africa-centric collection also features some of our favourite species from across the globe, including tigers, llamas, and our very own Highland cows.
Yes, yeah, it fits exactly in with the African vibe.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
Why not?
As always, we're going to walk you through our day, some of our favourite memories of the safari park, the animals we loved, and some of the moments which made our visit to Blair Drummond so much fun. We will then wrap up, as always, with our 2 stars and a wish. So, without further ado, let's get started. So we've kind of done the kind of around the worldy type loop. We've done the kind of like lunch, and then you kind of move into more of the kind of Africa themed section, where you'll kind of walk along this pathway, and on one side you have the zebras, giraffes, and ostrich. On the other side, you have the reserves, where you can see on foot the lions and the kind of rhino-y section as well. And so, yeah, I don't know, shall we touch on...
Oh, you hit lions first. Why don't we talk about
first?
lions first? Yes.
Well, I was going to say, shall we leave lions till we get to the reserve section?
Oh, if you want.
Because we'll be driving around the reserve.
Okay,
so I feel like we'll leave lions till then.
So a brief
you see lions,
bypass of the lions, and then
you see the indoor rhino house and the giraffes and stuff. So we'll do rhinos first.
Okay.
White rhinos?
Southern white rhinos.
Southern white rhinos. Mm-hmm. There are how many?
Well, Jack. Well, when I was working there were 3. But now, there are 4.
Yes.
Because one of the lovely female rhinos has had a baby.
Called Morag.
Morag, yes. Very Scottish name for a little African rhino.
Cute. So cute.
And we were lucky enough to spot Morag. The reason that we went in December was because the park closes,
for a few months.
At the end of December for a few months and reopens in the spring. And we knew if we didn't go and see her before it closed, by the time it reopened again in March, she'd probably be massive. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to see her while she was still tiny. So we went and we caught a glimpse of her through the glass, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. And just so cute and so... But important. Like, this is the good thing about that. Rhinos are so bizarrely cute because they shouldn't be cute because they're big, wrinkly, like, muscular things. Like, they shouldn't be cute, but they are. So they have that initial, like, wow factor of, like, look, we want to stand and look at this. But then also you have the important conservation message about rhinos and the fact that there are so few northern white rhinos left.
Yeah.
The southern white rhino is exceptionally important as a species and as a kind of this animal that we need to protect and we need to do more about. And I think they're such a great way of inspiring people to act for wildlife, especially when they're little and cute.
I think they're a really good one to talk about, like, conservation success as well, because like 100 years ago it was thought that the southern white rhino could be extinct, and then, you know, over the past century they've kind of brought it back from the brink and they're now the most populous.
Yeah, well, which is great. And like, I get like that sounded so ungenuine of me.
Well, that's great.
Well, that's great. Rhinos. That is genuinely like so fantastic. And I think what's nice about this kind of space is that, like, yeah, you have this kind of like indoor area where you can see them close up, and then you can see them out in the reserve as well. So there is this kind of like nice, like, even though the little one would be kept in so it didn't run out and just like, oh, look, a car. Like, you were still able to see it and everything and experience that, which was really nice and special. Any insider information about rhinos that's fun?
Well, so normally when you go through the reserves, if you spot a rhino out there, it's Graham, who's the male.
That's a really funny name for a rhino.
I know. And then the ladies are in the indoor bit. They do have access to an outdoor paddock, but then they're kind of in the bit that you would see on foot. It's the girls. So yeah, just people always love to know that the rhino that they saw in their car was Graham.
Oh, the boy.
It's quite a distinguished gent. Yeah.
In terms of size, is he significantly bigger, smaller, same size as the ladies?
He is. I mean, it's difficult to tell when you're like in your car because it's just like, wow, it's a rhino, it's huge. But yeah, he'll be a bit heavier as well. Just big horns as well.
They are. There's a lot of very impressive horns going on in that house. It's very like...
I love them. Love them so much. I didn't know that I loved rhinos as much as I did until you encounter these guys. And they're just...
Okay, competition time.
Oh.
You've worked with greater one-horned rhinos and the southern white rhino.
Yeah.
Which is the superior rhino?
They're different. They're so different. And someone that doesn't know rhinos would be like, what are you talking about? It's a big grey lump. But no. Like, they're so... When you know more about them, there's these little subtle differences that make them so cool.
I actually have... I'm not going to name and shame the zoo, but stay here, Jodi. I have something I want to show you.
Jack's getting up and leaving, listeners. This never happens.
No,
Where's he going? Oh, no. What do I do while you're gone? Fill the time? Oh, no. Listeners, I've been left alone with the mic. This isn't good. Oh no. Well, I can tell you a fun fact about the white rhino because people quite often ask us, why is a white rhino called a white rhino when it is not white?
It was great.
Yeah, so it came from the name that they were originally given was an Afrikaans word that it's something like it translates to wide, and that's in relation to their wide mouths because they are grazers rather than browsers. They have these big flat wide mouths, so they got that name. But then over time, wide has been misinterpreted and it came out as white. Oh. So now that's why they're known as the white rhino, and then you've got the black rhino in comparison. And yeah, so there's a fun fact. Did I fill the time well while you were away?
You did. Now, this is... So what I was going to get is a lot of zoos now do top trumps.
Yes,
where you have... It's a card game where there's animals and they have different ratings in terms of like their like food or their size or like their hunting skill or whatever it is.
Love it.
And I'm not going to name and shame the zoo.
Okay.
But could you tell me a problem with this top trump card, Jodi?
Let me see. Indian rhino. Is that an Indian rhino?
Nope.
No.
That's a white rhino.
Yeah, I'm looking at that going like, that looks like my rhinos.
Yep. So,
okay.
This is a set of top trumps from a zoo based in the UK.
But this is a zoo that it does have Indian rhinos, and it also has these rhinos. So maybe someone who's made it's just gone, that's a rhino, but they've picked the wrong type of rhino.
But they also have a white rhino card.
Oh dear.
That's got a picture of a white rhino
like
that looks
the same rhino.
Like the same.
Oh man. But this is what I mean though. Your average person wouldn't know that. They'd look and go, yep, it's a rhino. But when you know you're different...
I've considered emailing the zoo about it.
When you know the different rhhinos, you know what they all look like and how they're different.
So this is not Blair Drummond, but I thought I would bring it up because it's just come back into my head.
Interesting.
Yeah. I need to have words
So anyway, you asked me who's better.
Yes, I did.
I don't know, because I like... we just talked about the big flat wide mouths that these guys have. They're grazers, so they're like big hoovers that go along the ground and get all the grass and the hay. But then you've got the one-horns who are browsers, and they've got that kind of prehensile lip, and they come and grab everything. And I love the way that they eat as well. And I like the look of the one-horns because it's like they've got this big plated armour on them, like in the different segments, and they just look so cool and prehistoric. But then, I do like the southern whites as well because they're just, I don't know, I can't pick.
Okay.
What did Top Trumps say? Who did they pick as the better? We don't need to answer it. Top Trumps has done it for us. Get the cards back out quick.
So in terms of, this has, what they call it an Indian rhino in their card, not greater one-horned. They say IUCN Red List, they're vulnerable, so that's rank 3. Whereas the white rhino is near threatened, so it's only a 2.
Right, okay.
Then we have cute factor.
Oh.
Both are 60.
Okay.
Average food intake in grams.
Oh, that'll be a lot.
The Indian rhino is 22,200. The white rhino is 30,400.
Okay.
Edge score, which we've talked about on the podcast before.
And the London Zoo ones,
the white rhino is 0, but the Indian rhino is 4.6.
Oh, that's going to bump it up a bit, isn't it?
The lifespan of both are 40. The speed of the Indian rhino is 55, whereas the speed of the white rhino is only 50, and that's in kilometres an hour. And then the top trumps rating of the Indian rhino is 96, and the white rhino is 98. So I think that means the Indian rhino slightly has the edge. The greater one-horned rhino, slightly. Slightly.
Okay.
But
I'll take that.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, we're not going to argue with top trumps, except about their picture usage.
Yeah,
they picked the wrong
incorrect.
one. But okay. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So yeah, there's that. Moving on swiftly.
We're settling the big arguments here today.
Yes. We have giraffes, zebras, and ostriches.
Yes. Big mixed species habitat, which we love.
Which I thought was really, really special and actually like a really nice use of space. I thought it was a really good mix of kind of classic, iconic African savannah animals. Like they are the ones that you like. It just makes sense,
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like the math is math in here with this exhibit.
And I know you have a special love for the giraffes because you worked with them a lot.
Yeah.
So is there anything you want to say about them?
I just love them.
Anything more in depth than that?
What can I say about these guys? Yeah, because these are one of the animals that we do the animal encounters with. So have had the privilege to work up close with them. They are gorgeous. They are the giraffes that they have at Blair Drummond specifically are hybrids. So
that is interesting.
Yeah, so that's because people quite often, if they know a bit about giraffes, they'll ask like which subspecies they are. But basically, all of our girls here, they're all girls. They're hybrids, and so modern zoos will generally not breed hybrids as part of their European breeding programs or whatever. So us, by housing hybrids, it means that other zoos can get on with their breeding programs without that sort of, I was going to say interference, but that's not the word, just without having them in the mix. So we've got all hybrid girls here with us, and it means that they've got a real mix of like colours and patterns and just gorgeous gals.
Yeah, they are. They're really interesting. They're beautiful animals, and I think it is like a lovely space to see them in terms of like, all sorts of stuff. And you've gotten some very aesthetic pictures of them.
Oh, of course.
During your life. So, yeah, I really cannot complain about the giraffes at all. They're fabulous. And
also a good one to highlight because although it's always like, they're a bit of a basic one to love because everyone loves them. They're not basic, as we've said before, because they are more, some subspecies are more endangered than, say, elephants.
Yes.
So an important one to highlight.
Speaking of
it, look at that transition. So
opposite the kind of the giraffes, the zebras, and the ostrich house, there is the rhino house. There is the rhino house, but there is also an elephant house.
There is.
Where there is an African elephant who has a very interesting story, which I think you will be far better prepared to tell than I. So could you tell us a little bit maybe about the elephant that they have?
I can tell you a little bit about her. Yes, there's lots of information about her on our website as well. So the elephant house that we have at Blair Drummond, we are basically a retirement facility for older elephants. So in the past, we have housed quite a few elephants at a time. At the moment, we just have one, and it's a female called Mondi, and she is an older gal now. She is the same age as the park, actually. She is in her early 50s now. I want to say 52, 53. So she's an older lady. So she's here getting lots of love and care and peace and quiet. And it has been looked at in the past to maybe, after the other girls that she lived with obviously got older and passed away, we did look at bringing in a companion for her, but it's thought at this time because of her age, and taking into account her well-being and her behaviours and things, that it's perhaps just not the age for her to be getting introduced to new flatmates at the moment. So she is in there, she's living the life of luxury, getting all that one-on-one care from her keepers at the moment, and she's a very, very special gal. She's very well loved by everyone at the park. And by far the most common question that I get asked about her is, why is her skin so wrinkly? And the answer is because she's old. Yeah, you tell people that and they're like, what? But yes, we think about humans. When we get old, we get wrinkly, and it is no different for this old gal. So yeah, she's an African savanna elephant.
Amazing. Oh, that's so interesting. And it is, like, it's an interesting story, and I think it's an interesting kind of narrative to have, and I guess it kind of reflects similarly to, like, the Five Sisters thing we talked about, where they have the bears and stuff that have had these kind of interesting life stories that then come to them to be in their care and kind of see through the rest of their lives, have, like, this lovely kind of retirement experience, and just increase the welfare based on what they were experiencing before by
And I think
tenfold.
a lot of times people are like, oh, well, you know, something has to be part of a breeding program so that it's continuing for future lines. And if it's not, then what's the point? What's the value of it being there? But it's like, well, not all animals are in that position because they're old or, you know, for various reasons. And I think it's equally as important that we're not just looking after the young generations that are still popping out the kids. We have to look after the older generation as well. And it's nice to see that, you know, that you've got places like that can act as a retirement facility or, you know, rehabilitation in the case of Five Sisters to just look after animals for other reasons as well.
That's the thing. And it's an interesting one because conservation is very much like, yes, the breeding side is key and so like important, underlies so much of the work that goes on in zoos. But yes, it's this weird thing of like, well, do you just want us to put down
exactly
all of the older
yeah it's like well, you're saying that there's no value once they're past their prime, so to speak, and that's, you know, so it's nice that she's there to kind of highlight that history that Blair Drummond has of looking after these older girls who might have had different life circumstances, and, you know, it's just a nice area of conservation to be able to highlight with her.
Yeah, and it's a bit different from, I guess, like a lot of what we've talked about before, so it's an interesting tale. Interesting. Now we then get to a crossroads where one way you can go along the river and see the chimpanzees and the Highland cows, or you can go the other way and cross over the kind of river and see the lemurs.
Yes.
So I guess if we go chimpanzees first.
Okay.
Previously, there was a boat that would go up and round the Chimp Island and back, but that's been paused. It was paused for COVID, and it's kind of stayed paused for the moment. So there's a pathway up to this Chimp Island that you can go and see three chimpanzees.
At time of recording, yes.
Yes, and when you pass, along that way, you'll also pass some Highland cows, which are beautiful and lovely. And you can go out and you can see these chimpanzees. And like, what was really nice and serene is it feels like you're walking out through the countryside, and then just all of a sudden there is this big island with chimps on it.
Yeah, it's a like lovely really nice space down there. It's a fairly, not small space once you get down to the end of the walkway, but I think just because it's quite narrow as you walk down this path. But yeah, on quiet days when there was no one down there for the chimp talk, it's just me stood there, like, and you've got the noise of the water and the birds and the leaves, and you just felt like you were a million miles away. It's a really, really nice spot in the park, even just to go and there's some benches there, so even just to go and sit there for a little bit. Just enjoy being outdoors. And I think it's good as well because sometimes you will have to sit for a little while to spot the chimps. Yeah. So yeah, it's a really nice, quiet little pocket of the park. Just feels away from the noise.
Yes, it is. It's lovely. It's really, really nice. And then I guess, I know you have in previous episodes said you hate chimps because they scare you. So could you tell us anything that made you perhaps more endeared to these chimps?
Yeah, I think, so I think it's cool to see them living on the island, like living in that sort of habitat, because it does feel, I don't want to say more natural because that implies that where they live in other collections is not natural, but just seeing them in this big open space and they forage for a lot of their own food and like they can just do their own thing, and it's like you're just seeing behaviours that you might not get the chance to see otherwise. Yeah, and I mean, I've seen them obviously when in some of the experiences, the keepers go out and they feed them, and we kind of get like a front row view of them being fed as and when it happens, which maybe is when they're most active. And just to see, you know, you hear about all these different behaviours that chimps have, but to actually see it with your own eyes, there is something, even for someone like me who was previously a bit scared of chimps, they're really breathtaking about it. Like to see them using sticks to like fish the food in from out of the water and stuff like that, and just so cool. Yeah, as much as perhaps they're not my favourite animal in the world, I have to admit they are amazing. Like when you see them doing all that.
Interesting. Amazing. I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad that you've come round.
That's high praise from me for a chimp. I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
I like that. I like that you've really had a moment there, an epiphany. And hopefully that will continue when you go back to work at Blair Drummond. Yes. By the end, we can maybe ReZOO in a year's time, Blair Drummond, and you'll be even more deeply in love with them. I doubt it, but maybe they will be. So yes, there's that, and then there's the lemur section, which before you cross over to the lemurs, I think like something that's worth highlighting is here there are, during the summer months, pedlos and all sorts of different like activities, and there's another little gift shop I think here.
Yeah, that's opened when it's busy.
And lots of
cafe and stuff.
Yeah, cafes and stuff. So another little hub of activity here, and then you cross over and you're in the lemur section, which is actually a really nice, big, spacious walkthrough.
Yeah.
Like when we went,
Lovely
obviously it was a
land.
bit colder, so they're spending a lot of time in the indoor sections. But it was nice. It was really good, and it's crowned lemurs, black and white ruffed lemurs, and ring-tailed lemurs. Is that right?
And brown lemurs too.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's so many lemurs.
Yeah.
But no, it's a really nice section, and I think it is nice that they've kind of grouped all these together and plonked them all in this kind of their own little space. I really, really like it. And I remember when it opened, and it was a nice, like, new kind of different twist on the African theme. Because I think a lot of the time when people think of Africa, they think strictly of lions and, like, that kind of aspect. Whereas Madagascar, still part of that continent, still part of the diverse
really
ecosystems that are... Yeah,
really important area to highlight.
So it's a really nice area. Any fun things to mention?
I like that in here it's not just lemurs. You've also got Patagonian mara.
Another random global species.
Tortoises as well. There are sheep. I want to say Somali sheep, maybe?
Okay.
Sheep. A few little random entries in there too. But it's great. Mixes it up. You've got things at ground level, things up high.
Tree level.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And also a thing to mention, just because this was actually happening when we were there, when you're through in the back section where the black and white ruffs are, they had signage up about research that was taking place in collaboration with the University of Glasgow at that time.
Wasn't it to do with music or something?
Yes, so they were putting in... Oh, you're putting me to shame now because I can't really remember what it was about. It was basically the lemurs had a choice of different things to interact with, and I think some of them would produce sounds, some would produce different lights, and it was to see like what sort of thing they would interact more with, and it found that they liked sound. I think it was a tunnel, like they could go through this little tunnel.
They could go through the tunnel, and if they wanted to, they could listen
play.
to the music, and it would play different genres of music.
Yeah. So and there's a section on the website that talks about the research going on. But that's something to highlight about the park. They do work in collaboration with local unis quite a lot, and lots of research is done like within the park, and it's great.
Amazing. No, it's really, really interesting, and it's a nice little section. It's something that I think like more... or like a lot of zoos do, but not a lot of people talk about, is that research aspect.
Yeah.
Like, because with like, for example, like at Edinburgh Zoo, they have the Wild Genes Lab where they do kind of genetic research, and like all of these kind of different research projects that go on that people don't necessarily know about, but should, because it's really interesting. And like, I've like talked to people from Chester Zoo who do behavioural research on people who visit zoos. So like there's all this sort of research goes on, and it just doesn't always get the chance to be highlighted. So I really like the fact that it was there.
Now, I just have to mention this before we forget, because we were in Lemur Land. I think it was like only us that were in there.
Oh, it was terrifying.
It was quiet. It was quite a quiet winter day. I was going to say it was quite tranquil. I was enjoying it. You've got like the river sort of separates you from the rest of the park, and then through the silence and the peace, what did we hear, Jack?
Screaming
and honking
and.
Screaming?
Was the lemurs?
No,
It was horrifying. I didn't like it at all.
I'm talking about a different type of screaming. The excited, joyful screams of children and honking of horns and ringing of bells.
Because Santa.
And we looked up, and who did we see through the trees across the river but Santa?
Yes, when we went at Christmas, there was Santa being dragged around on this massive sleigh that was being dragged around by a tractor. Which was covered in fairy lights, which was a real interesting vibe. I would like to see him attempt to get through the lion drive-through without being ripped to absolute pieces.
I think
but
they probably did a bypass there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say.
But it was a really lovely thing.
But the thing is, we didn't know Santa was coming, so because we were just standing in the middle of Lemur Land and then just heard this.
It's like,
and we were like, what on it? And then someone like beeped at Santa.
Was it because there was a car stuck behind Santa and they were getting annoyed that they couldn't?
There was a bit of road rage going on. Someone was not feeling the Christmas joy.
No.
But and we saw Santa again later when we were back in the food section. He went past and we saw his elves and
the Grinch.
The Grinch was it was all happening.
It was all happening. So I forgot about that.
How could you forget?
I don't know. I really don't know. But speaking of getting in cars, you've led us nicely onto our final section, which is the drive-through, which I feel like is the kind of main part, but obviously we've already talked for an hour and a bit, so we're going to probably not cover it in huge amounts of like...
Okay.
like, it's not going to be another 2 hours of podcast, guys. Don't worry, is what I'm saying. But it is. It takes up a lot of area of the park. It's this huge drive-through section broken into 4 bits, like a savannah area with African kind of herbivores, lions, macaques, and then Asian deer species as well in the 4th section. And so, yeah, you kind of drive round kind of past the Lemur Land area and through this like massive reserve, which is really interesting and really kind of fun. So in the first section, you have, I'm going to get my guidebook out.
Oh, more ASMR.
Yep.
I do think this is a good feature that they give you a guide for the drive-through, because otherwise you probably wouldn't have a scoop.
Yep. And so in section 1, African animals. The animals in the first section of the drive-through are all native to Africa, and then it goes on to tell you that in there are white rhino, Ankole cattle, greater kudu, lechwe, and eland. And yeah, it's a big old space. I will point out, and the one thing I would change, I love this guide, but listeners, I'm not going to tell you which is which, but I'm going to read the descriptions.
Okay.
So we'll start with one of them. This is the largest and slowest African antelope. It looks a little bit like a cow with long twisted horns. Have long, thin white stripes on their backs and dark spots on their legs. And then the description for one of the other antelope. A large antelope with white stripes on its back. The males have spectacular spiraled horns. And I just feel like there could be a little bit more to just make that slightly more distinct.
Or maybe a little picture of each one.
A picture of something. Just because like those are essentially the same description.
Yeah.
And for people like me, like I knew what a kudu was and I knew what an eland was, so I know
but if you
the
didn't
difference.
know.
But based on those descriptions, that's not really clear necessarily what those are.
I was going to say put a picture in, but maybe part of the fun is, as a family, you
Trying
have to work out what's what.
I do think that, but it also shouldn't be a guessing game.
Yeah,
there should be
there
more
needs
of a
to be a
guide.
distinction with them.
So I do think maybe there is something there. The rest of the descriptions, like the Ankole cattle, white rhino, lechwe, like they're more distinctly like different. So that is like, that they're a bit easier, but that one really particular jumped out at me. It's like maybe just do a little bit more within this guide to distinguish what's in there. And so yes, in case you're trying to guess, the first one I described was the eland, and the second one was the greater kudu, for anyone who's wondered. But no, I really like this section. I think yes, classic big hitters like the rhinos alongside more bizarre creatures. I always remember the Ankole cattle from when I was younger because they are like so impressive with the massive horns.
Yeah, quite intimidating.
And there's something you
as well.
don't see in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So they're really quite fantastic to see and something a bit different. So I really enjoyed them. And then also I do have a soft spot for a different species of antelope. So seeing them in all of their glory as well was really fantastic.
Yeah.
I do think it felt a bit quiet, but then you explained to me in the winter they take some of the stuff like off show.
Yeah, one thing about Blair Drummond is they do, I mean, not the bigger things like, the giraffes and the rhinos, they're always where they are, but sometimes things can move about and stuff, and it'll have to change depending on time of year and what other stuff's there, so yeah. Yeah,
but there was still a couple of kudu. Like, you were still seeing all of the species. It was just that it didn't feel as busy as it did when I was younger, and I can't tell whether in my head that was just my childhood wonder, being like, there's so many animals, or whether there was less. So it was an interesting one. But in terms of diversity, the diversity was still there. It just felt like there was less of each. Which I guess also from an animal welfare point of view is actually quite good because it gives you more space to move around. Yes, I don't know, do you have any particular thoughts on any of these?
Not especially.
Favourites or?
Quite like the Ankole cattle. They're they scare me a bit. Because like when you're driving around in the work car and thinking, if this runs at me, different if it's my car, but I'm like, I don't want to be the person who's in the work car if it gets charged at by a rhino or a giant cow. But yeah, no, it's I don't have much more in. Do you know what the thing is? Anyone that knows me in person knows I'm quite a stressed driver. So whenever I'm going through this bit, I'm normally driving in the work car, which is one thing, and responsible for other passengers in the car. So I'm just focusing on like driving and not like coming off the road or like, I don't know, running into Graham or something, like just trying to make sure the windows are up. Like I'm just thinking about all that.
Yeah, that's a big thing here actually. It says please keep your windows closed.
Yes.
It doesn't even say please, it just says keep your windows closed.
Especially when you get into the next bit.
Which is lions.
Yes.
We do love lions. The second of the reserves is home to our pride of African lions. the lions are kept separate from animals of the first section, and you can probably guess why.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of lions, and they are big, scary cats that I feel like, yeah, you don't realise how big a lion is until it's walking alongside your Corsa, and you're like, oh my god.
This is the same thing for us of like being so used to Edinburgh, who have Asiatic lions.
Yep.
When you then see African lions, they are chunky
Bigger.
cats.
Yeah.
Like
Muscular, big cats.
Yeah, you forget how big they are. So yes.
I like this because it contains fun facts about them, which, like, obviously in section 1 they have to like squeeze in the 5 species, but in this one, because it's in Africa, they have their own page,
and people know what a lion is, so you don't have to describe it.
Exactly. So there's like, and because there's only one thing, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that must be it. But yeah, tells you a little bit about, they live in a family called a pride. They are carnivores. They are the only cat which cannot. Jodi, do you know the answer to that?
They're the only cat which cannot.
Blank. What's the word?
Oh, I don't think I've read the guide. I don't know.
They are the only cat which cannot purr, according to this guide.
Oh.
Instead, they roar. A lion's roar can be heard over 5 miles away. I didn't know they couldn't. I didn't know they were the only ones that couldn't purr.
Does that mean a tiger can purr?
I guess so.
Oh, there you go. Learn
Interesting.
something new every day.
Because tigers can roar, but also, I guess they can
They
also
can like
purr.
growl and
Interesting.
how interesting.
And then it talks about the mane, and it talks about like the fact that they sleep a lot. So it's a nice little section in this, and it's a nice section to drive through as well. Slightly intimidating when they're moving around, and I've been in my little like tiny car and had like a lion right next to you, and you do feel that like heartbeat like going up, but it's a magical experience, and really liked it. Any thoughts on lions?
Thoughts on the lions? They spend most of their time just lying about.
Hey.
They really do. I think in the morning they were always quite active when they first come out, and then they do spend a lot of time just lounging, especially if it's sunny, because just a big cat at the end of the day. It's going to find a puddle of sunlight and it's going to sit in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but always, even when they are lying down, like just to drive past them, you're right, they're so huge. It's just, yeah.
Magical.
Always fun.
Lovely. I really enjoyed the lions. In terms of, before we move out of the African section, what are the kind of conservation projects that Blair Drummond is involved in Africa? Do you know any off the top of your head?
It
doesn't have to be for these reserves.
They've got
but
one to do with the one to do with the rhinos is it's called OSCAP, I think, which stands for something like Outraged South African Citizens Against Poaching.
Oh.
So that's a big one that they do. Loads of them are to do with Africa, actually, to the point where I'm like, look on the website, not as a cop-out for me, but because there are so many that are to do with that. There are, I think some of the vulture stuff's to do with that, which we'll come on to, vulture. And they've worked with the Giraffe Conservation Foundation in the past, and yeah, quite a lot of them are Africa-based, which is not surprising given that it is a safari park.
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm just looking up to see on the website so I can give you a list of things that they do. One second. Link to the wild. Chimp-friendly crops in Uganda, that's African. Rehabilitating vultures in South Africa.
The Namibian Lion Trust used to be one as well, talking about lions.
Lemurs and livelihoods in Madagascar. Then we're about to come on to the Barbary macaques. Rhinos. It is OSCAP, Outraged South African Citizens Against Poaching. Tiger fences in India, protecting wild lions in Namibia. All-Women Wildlife Protection Programme, protecting pinnipeds through rescue and rehabilitation, which is sea lions, supporting ocean conservation in the Galapagos, restoring white-tailed eagle to Wales, rescuing Scotland's marine mammals, giraffe conservation in Uganda, tagging tortoises in Mauritius, protecting Mediterranean monk seals, tracking raptors in Scotland. And that's all the ones on the website there. So yeah, just like a brief rundown, but not all of those Africa focused, I guess. We went off track slightly. But yeah, there is like a lot of work going on there and donations being made to those organisations, which is fantastic. Next, macaques.
Macaques, yes. Talked about them a little bit earlier, because obviously we saw them on foot.
And they are found in Algeria, Morocco and Gibraltar. They are cheeky monkeys that look cute, but they have sharp teeth and can bite when feel scared or threatened, according to the guide, which is interesting. And there are what feels like loads.
Yes, it's a big space, to be
There's
fair.
a huge space.
Yeah. Big space for them. Cheeky monkeys indeed. These are like your classic safari park situation where they may go on top of your car. But
they will go on top of someone's car.
What I quite like about this drive-through is that there's the option to bypass this reserve if you don't want to take
If you're
your
a bit
car.
nervous,
Yes, or if some cars, like a soft top or whatever, can't go through that enclosure. So there's a...
They can go through the lions, but they can't go through the macaques.
I want to say yeah.
I mean...
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they just can't go through at all. But anyway, there's an option for if you don't want to go through there, you don't have to.
Interesting.
Yes.
Lovely. And any fun facts about them? I mean, we've talked about them many times before because they came up in one of the other ReZoos.
Yeah, and I'm sure I said this in the other ReZoo, but my go-to fact about them is always that the difference between a monkey and an ape is the tail or lack thereof. And so these guys do not have tails, which would maybe make you think they were an ape, but they are in fact a monkey. They've just adapted to not need the tail because of where they lived.
Interesting.
Yes, and our little troop came from Gibraltar.
Oh, lovely. Were they not causing trouble or something?
There was,
and they had to
it
be
was
moved?
years ago. There was something to do with, I think there was maybe two opposing, because did you not look it up when we were there? Something to do with, there was two opposing troops and they couldn't get on and they had to get rid of this group and no one could take them and the only other option would be to have them put down. So Blair Drummond said that they would give them a home so that did not have to happen. And they've been here ever since. Very successful breeders, this lot. Constantly new babies going on with the macaques, which is lovely to see. Yes.
Yeah.
All round good time.
Interesting. Yes, I was just looking on the website there to see if I could find the information, but I couldn't see it there. But no, it's definitely an interesting story of like, yeah, and I feel like they're a really charismatic animal and something interesting to have in a drive-through.
Yeah.
And yeah, really fantastic. I guess then section 4, last but not least, Asian animals. We have Bactrian camels, axis deer, nilgai, one of the above, Persian fallow deer, Pear David's deer, and Eld's deer. And again, we are reverting back to the description, which are not entirely clear. I remember driving around this section and being like, a small deer with a light brown coat. Okay. Has a brown coat and long horse-like face. Males have long branched antlers. Like, have a fawn coat and small white spots which run a straight line along their bodies. Males have large flat antlers shaped like a hand. A pretty deer with spotty coat and white throat. A large antelope which looks a bit like a cow with a tuft of hair on its throat. Like, those descriptions to me are not distinct enough.
I will say, for this section though, the deer are easier to tell apart when you can see them. So if you have that description and you can see all the deer, you can go, oh, that's that one, that's that one, that's that one. It's quite easy.
Okay.
But yes, I can see why people would be like, oh, it's just deer, let's just drive past.
Yes, but actually there's quite a lot there. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like I would maybe alter those descriptions just slightly to make it a bit more distinct. But yeah, I do like, and the selection was really nice, and obviously we have talked previously about the Pear David's deer storyline, which is really interesting. Camels really interesting. Something really interesting. And it's a nice big kind of interesting section of deer.
Yeah. And it's nice because people do have that tendency to go, oh, it's just some deer. It's nice that you can say, well, no, the fun fact about here is the most endangered animal in the park is in here and it's one of the deer. So it's always a nice thing to kind of throw in there as you're driving through.
Yes, I think so. And I think, like, yeah, deer, as we said in the Deer Centre ReZoo, like, people don't think about deer enough. They're really interesting. They're beautiful creatures and people should talk about them more because they're fantastic. And yeah, I really, really appreciated that. And that kind of, though, brings you to the end.
It does, but we've forgotten something.
Which was, in fact, before we leave,
because at this point you could drive out of the drive-through and leave. You know, that kind of takes you on a loop.
I guess we'll transition into bonus stuff.
Okay.
We can transition it and then it feels like we haven't, and then we can pretend we haven't forgotten something even though we did forget to mention it before.
It's because the bird section of the park is kind of separate from everything else. It's way over on the other side of the car park. So if you didn't know it was there, you might almost miss it. Yeah.
So,
but do not miss it because it's such a good place.
At this point we did leave and that was the end of our journey. But bonus stuff. Birds. We went to the bird show, in which they flew an owl.
Yes, little barn owl.
A barn owl and a vulture thing, was it not?
A vulture at the end. And in the middle...
Two kites.
In the middle? Yes, it was the two kites.
Two kites. Not kites.
Not as in let's go fly a kite from Mary Poppins, as in...
Like a kite, like the bird
of prey, yes.
And so, no, it was really interesting and it was really nice. And like the guy who was doing the presenting, you could tell he'd done that a million times before and he was just so comfortable with the birds and like... knowing what he was doing, and like it was a really nice, good show. Nice, excellent little bonus thing.
And I love this because not as a worker, but as a visitor. From my childhood, I remember the thing you remember is like the drive-through, the boat to Chimp Island, which no longer runs, the Sea Lion show, which isn't on at the moment in its old form.
Yeah.
And so the Bird of Prey show was kind of like a hark to the past, and I remember loving it when I was young, and I still love it now. And that area of the park is stunning because it's down at the kind of big lock and just beautiful. Perfect place for a Bird of Prey show.
What was the story as well with like you and the owls or something, and like you were terrified of birds or you were terrified of human interaction?
Yeah, so when I was little, and I mean really little to the point where I can barely even remember, I think it was at Blair Drummond. I don't know where else I would have been. I was with my family somewhere at one of these Bird of Prey shows, and they asked for some audience volunteers to like come down and be part of the show. And I was a very shy child, like just so painfully shy, I was once described as. So I would never volunteer for stuff like that normally, and I was a bit scared of animals and that kind of thing. And when we went to Blair Drummond, they asked for a volunteer. And my family tell me the story to this day that my hand shot up. Before they even realised what was happening, I'd been picked and I'd run away down to the front. And they were all absolutely baffled because I would never normally do that kind of thing. And I loved it. And I've loved Birds of Prey ever since. And you know, they used to do stuff like, I don't think they do this now, but they used to like take them round like shopping centres and stuff. Not Blair Drummond, like I just mean people. Like,
people
and there'd be,
have liked Birds of Prey.
Or like at events and fairs and stuff, you could like hold a Bird of Prey and get your little Polaroid picture taken. I had a little Polaroid picture of me with an owl on my fridge my whole childhood.
Aww.
And it was like birds were one animal that I was not scared of when I was growing up. Because I just loved Birds of Prey. And that's why whenever anyone says, what would your spirit animal be? I always say a Bird of Prey. Because I've always loved them.
Interesting.
So there's a little random tangent there about my life, but yeah. I just love this space as well, and it's good because you've got the kind of Bird of Prey, don't want to call it centre, but you know, the place where the Birds of Prey are, and that gets closed during the show, obviously, because the presenters have to bring the birds on and off. But you're right, they're such a slick team. Like, you can tell they've done it for ages, and they know those birds so well, and they're so comfortable, and they're great with the audience, and it's always fantastic. So good, so professional, just brilliant.
Yeah, I love it. And speaking of the last bonus thing that I wanted to mention, the relative of the birds, the dinosaurs.
Oh, the dinosaurs.
The dinosaurs.
How could we forget the dinosaurs?
And I'm going to take the lead on this one.
Go for it.
Because I have thoughts on dinosaurs.
Go, you give all your thoughts about the dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs are now a common theme across many zoos. Whether they be temporary exhibits or full-time installations, massive plastic or fabric or some kind of dinosaurs.
It's just
are
the
common
thing just now, isn't it?
And I've seen them here, I saw them in the US, I've seen them all over the place, and people love them. Now, on one hand, I get it. I get the appeal for like kids, because when I was younger, I would have loved that. I would have thought it was just amazing, and it was just fantastic, and it was just like wonderful. On the other hand, it's like zoos have gone, oh, we're going to do something cool and special.
Yeah, but
we're
they've
all going to
all
get
done it at the same
dinosaurs,
time.
but they've all got plastic dinosaurs. And I'm like, that's great, but I'm starting to look, I feel like I've lost any sense of wonder at these things now, because I've seen them so many times over so many places in pretty much exactly the same way. And so this display was fantastic and really good in terms of like dinosaur displays. But I really do feel like we need to stop this trend.
So that's not like specific to
It's
Blair
not
Drummond.
a specific Blair Drummond thing. It's like when we talked
all
about
zoos.
Exactly, when we talked about like Christmas lights in the Chester Zoo, ReZOO. That was not a specific Chester thing. This is a more wide thing where like in terms of like Blair Drummond, this is a really good display of dinosaurs. However, I'm fed up looking at dinosaurs. I'm so sorry, zoos who all think it's really creative and wonderful, but you've all got them.
Yeah.
And it's gotten to the point where it's not creative or special anymore, and it's not wonderful. It's not as good as you think it is. Whatever the marketing team think they're doing with it, I just think they're really good, but it's not a like creative genius idea anymore. It's like the same thing over and over and over and over again.
Florals for spring, groundbreaking.
Exactly. Dinosaurs for children, groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Like I've
I
seen
do normally
it so
love
many
the
times.
dinosaurs. Normally,
And I do.
I'm
like,
the one slagging them off and you're defending them.
No, but I do. Like, I like dinosaurs and I love dinosaurs. And I see, this is my dilemma and my inner debate is like, I love dinosaurs. I, as a child, would love displays like this, but as an adult looking at this is no longer a creative, wonderful enterprise. This is a copy and paste exercise across every zoo in the UK, which I'm done looking at.
See, my thought with the dinosaurs is, I'm the opposite of you because I was not a dinosaur child. I have never seen Jurassic Park. I don't care. I'm not interested, right? I hold my hands up. I don't need it. I don't need the dinos in my life. But the one thing that I will say about Blair Drummond that makes me not mind their dinosaurs in a way that is better than I feel about other zoos that have them, is that I think they have done well in putting them in a space that otherwise wasn't used for anything.
Yes.
Whereas
and
sometimes
it
can't really be used for anything else. Whereas sometimes you go somewhere and it's like, well, these plastic dinosaurs are taking up space that animals could be in, or they're right in the middle of where animals are, and it's annoying and that bugs me. Whereas with this, it's like, well, they're over here next to the picnic benches. If they weren't there, I think it used to just be more picnic benches. So, like, that's quite a good use of space. You might as well put them in there. So I don't take as much issue with them as I have in other places.
In terms of dinosaur displays, I do think Blair Drummond was one of the best ones I've seen.
It is good, yeah.
It's really good. And I think
kids love it. Like, they really do.
This is the thing. Like, so I'm just like, I'm conflicted.
Yeah.
I'm conflicted, Jodi, and I don't know how to... Like, I honestly think like a dinosaur display would be a better pull for something like a botanic garden, where botanic gardens are really hard to get kids to engage with because plants are historically quite a difficult thing to get kids
Whereas
to be...
zoos don't really need dinosaurs to draw kids in because the animals do that themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And one thing that does bug me sometimes as a bugbear when I'm at work is that that's all kids want to go and see. They want to go and see the plastic dinosaurs. And it's like, but you've got like rhinos and lions over there. Like, go and see the animals. And they just want to go see the dinosaurs.
And that's a tricky thing because I feel like the pathway into conservation for so many people is like when you're younger loving dinosaurs and then you develop a love for animals and then you end up in a conservation career.
It is,
so you don't want to shut that path down.
I know.
But it is, I don't know, it's a question that I can't answer and I would need to do a lot of research about to answer fully. Yeah. But I just think in terms of like...
Change your whole PhD track. This is the question. Yeah, well, it's about dinosaurs and their engagement.
Like, zoos, if you're out there listening and you're thinking about getting like a plastic dinosaur, please, no.
Yeah.
Do something else. I don't mind. See, this is the thing. I wouldn't mind if they did like a mythical creatures or like a legends or like even just like moving forward, like ancient mammals.
Yeah.
Or like ancient like sea creatures even.
Yeah,
just
that'd be
something
cool.
different. Like maybe like big massive like sculptures of creepy crawlies that are like blown up to like huge size. Something. I wouldn't mind that as a concept as like a display. I think the real issue and root of the issue is everyone has done exactly the same thing to the point it's no longer creative.
And I think a lot of that's obviously come off the back of like Jurassic World coming out a few years ago, and that's what sparked it because suddenly everyone loves dinosaurs again and kids, it's cool again, you know, for kids. So everyone's done it at the same time. So yes, you're right. It's not personal to Blair Drummond. It's just a general zoo thing. We're done with the dinos. I think.
We are.
Yes.
But on that note, it is time to wrap up with our 2 stars and a wish and a word of the ReZOO. Now, obviously for you, it's tricky because you work there because so there is this kind of awkward dynamic of like, can you say a wish when you work there? I'm happy to like do the whole thing. But if you have thoughts on stars, perhaps, then you could jump in on those.
Yes, let's
do you want
that.
to start with your 2 stars and then I'll come in afterwards?
One of my stars has to go to the bird of prey area, both for just the area itself and for the show, for reasons I've just explained. I just love it. It's always fantastic. And it's, as I say, it's that thing that reminds me of
childhood.
Loving it as a child, and I still love it as an adult, and it's that connection is still there.
Lovely. And then... part 2 of that second star?
Part 2 would be... let me think about part 2. You give me your...
Okay, so for me, my first star, I think, would be the whole setup of the centre section, which is food and toys and games, because I don't think... Usually I pick animals, but I think this section in particular was a really good family section that added value for money. And we didn't really touch on it, but ticket price, you can tell this is very aimed at families. And I think it caters well to a family market, and that particular section of like games and play parks and restaurants and dinosaurs is a real celebration of like what's good for kids and families. So that would be like my first star.
Okay. I think my number 2 gonna have to give it to the lemurs.
Sorry. I think my number 2.
I think my second star.
There we go.
I'm gonna have to give it to the lemurs.
Okay.
Just because.
Which particular lemurs or all?
All of them.
Okay.
All of the lemurs. Although I do love Lemur Land. I just
Okay.
like that as a little concept. I like that it's separate, feels like a little island because you go over the bridge. Like Madagascar, perhaps. Island theme going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like the lemurs because I think I've talked about this before, but just that I found this like newfound love for them by working there and working up close with them and like just appreciating them in a way that I didn't before. And as we've said, it's impressive when obviously the point of a zoo is to inspire anyone to have this new connection, but when you can do it to someone who's already an animal person and find new things for them to love, it's quite impressive.
I like that. I think my second star, completely differently to that, would just be the fact that like Blair Drummond is never afraid to invest money back into itself. And I think what's nice is that like I can see in the years that I've not been there what's happened, and it feels like every year there's been a major development project pretty much of like they've changed something, they've done something. So my second star is more of a conceptual one of like I like the fact they clearly care about what they do and they want to make sure that they are doing the best they can in terms of the animal welfare.
And you're right, they're not
and
afraid to spend money, because I feel like a lot of places are like, oh, we don't have the budget for that, and it's like sometimes, not that it's all about making money, but it's like that, what's the saying, you have to
spend money to make money.
Yeah, like, you know, and you do, especially if you are
have to spend money to make conservation value.
Somewhere that's a bit older and has been around for a while, you have to keep it new and fresh and exciting. And also just to keep up the standard, you know? And I think they do that. They recognise when something's maybe getting a bit old and they go, right,
replace it.
We're replacing it, yeah.
I like that. I like the level of care, especially in somewhere that is very family focused, because you know kids will rip things and punch things and tear things and break things and smash things. And so having the ability and the willingness to invest means that nothing looks like it's had kids rip it apart, which is actually really nice and really, really good. However, having said that, moving on to my wish. No, I guess my wish for Blair Drummond would be to change. The only thing I've really targeted in on is the guide for the drive-through, because I remember when I was younger, the guidebooks for Blair Drummond were fantastic.
I remember as well having
they were brilliant,
big and had pictures in them.
Pictures and like all sorts of activities, and like they were fantastic. And maybe they're moving away from a guidebook format for whatever reason if they want to save paper. But you've also just handed me 6 sheets of paper anyway. So if you're trying to do a recycling thing, maybe this isn't the route to go down. Maybe you could do some kind of like audio guide for the reserve, or you could do some kind of app situation. So if the reason to make it a short guide is to do that, maybe move away from this concept entirely and try something new. But if you're not afraid to give out paper and you want to give out these guides for people to take away and kind of have as a memento, I'd expand them slightly and just do a bit more with them. Maybe even have a paid version versus a free version for like the people who are like really into it. Yeah. Just kind of offer more options in terms of information there, because I do think that this is good, but limited in its usefulness. It's particularly in terms of like identifying certain species for people who are like not animal people. Yeah,
I think that's fair.
So that would be my thought. And so yes, word of the ReZOO. Tricky,
of the ReZOO, yeah.
Because it is like a really beautiful, wonderful park, but I can't think of a word. It's family focused. It's fun.
We've had that before, though.
Have we just had fun? Have we had fun?
Family.
Have we had fun?
I don't know.
Have we had? It was freezing cold when we went. No. I don't know.
Even for it being freezing cold in the winter, it was still good.
Yeah, it was still good. Yeah. I would say it was fun. I think fun. It's a simple word. Yeah. But I think I was to sum up my day at Blair Drummond in one phrase. It was like, yeah, that was fun.
And do you know what? Coming from us, that's quite good.
Because normally we're very serious and we're like,
well, yeah, but like when you're going in as zoo people, being like, oh, you know, got our little zoo glasses on, it's quite nice, especially as in a place where the fun is aimed at children, for the adults to still go, that was really fun. Actually, it's quite good. You're clearly hitting everyone there.
Exactly. Yeah, so we'll go with fun.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Now, that brings us to the end.
It does. Hopefully.
We have talked for almost 2 hours in a ReZOO that was meant to be an hour, but we've gone through it. We've done it all. It'll come out. We'll see.
And we were like, this is going to be shorter because it's only going to be you talking, because I'm not going to be saying much. But it's been longer than usual.
Oh well, we tried our best.
Hopefully I haven't said anything that will get me fired.
I don't think so. I think we've been very positive, actually. And I've really enjoyed talking about Blair Drummond. And I can't wait to go back. And I would like to request formally on the podcast, Jodi's bosses, if you are listening, I would be more than happy to come and do a visitor experience, perhaps a keeper for the day. If you'd like me to come along, I have given you free advertising.
I see. So this is your
So,
repayment.
yes, I can be bribed. For good reviews. No, I'm joking. But like, yes, I might turn up one day while you're doing these things and just be like, Jodi, let me feed a giraffe, and you'll say no.
Absolutely not.
No, give me the ticket price, then yes. But no, I will turn up, and I can't wait to see you in action again at Blair Drummond this year.
Mm-hmm.
But on that note, we should wrap up. Thank you all so much for listening. You can find the podcast on all streaming sites. So you can subscribe there, leave us a nice review, do whatever you want to do on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Google Podcasts, and on them all, you can find us there. You can also find us on social media at Pangolin Podcast on everything, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, them all. And you can also find me on Twitter at OnlyJackBaker. And on Instagram at TheOnlyJackBaker. So I'm all over the place.
You are indeed.
I am prolific. And on that note, we should probably wrap up. So once again, thank you so much for everybody for listening. Thank you, Jodi, for joining me again. And yes, until next time, goodbye.
Bye.